Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, good evening, Facebook. Happy Saturday, and welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose with me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guidance servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Brian+Post. Hope everyone has had a fantastic day, and we're going to just dive right in this evening. I had said yesterday I was going to do a review of the dad at the school advocating for his son, and then I got caught on the road, so didn't get a chance to get to it. So I thought I'd pick up on that tonight, and I just rewatched it again. And I actually know this father. I've known him since he was 16. He's now the father of, been almost 10 years. And so now he's the father of two young men. And obviously he's ready to advocate for his children. So that was very cool. And I asked you guys, what is the one thing this teacher could have done? What was the one thing she could have done? Some of you nailed it right away. That would have completely diffused the situation. Wouldn't have made it right. It was okay. She was in the wrong. But when people tend to be in the wrong, there's one thing that they typically do. So there's one thing she could have done, and then there's one thing that we typically do when we are in the wrong that just makes it worse. Ready? One thing she could have done is just apologize to the dad. That's all she needed to do. She just needed to take responsibility. The one thing she did instead was defend and blame. And that's where she went wrong. Because if you have created an environment where a child that you are responsible for because they're in your classroom did not get to eat, it's not the child's fault. It's not the substitute teacher's fault. It's not the other homeroom teacher's fault who wasn't even in school. It's not the principal's fault. It's not the superintendent's fault. It's not the cafeteria's fault. There's only one place where fault lies, and that's solely on the shoulders of the teacher who is responsible for the children in her classroom. Bottom line. So this teacher tried to blame everyone else besides just taking responsibility. It can be so difficult for us to take responsibility in our society and in relationships in our society for one simple reason. Because we get scared. Because we get stressed and we get scared. And when we get stressed and we get scared, we do one thing. This is the one show. We constrict into survival. And when we constrict into survival, our thinking's confused and distorted. Our short-term memory suppressed. The only thing we can think about is surviving, and therefore we just try to defend ourselves. All the teacher had to do, the only thing she had to do was just, now you got to understand, Dad was really smart because this young man, this father, is 6'5". He's a big dude. And so he was smart, especially in this climate, to have this little situation videoed. Because that could have went all kinds of ways, and he could have been accused in all kinds of ways. And so he was being very proactive. But the only thing the teacher needed to do in the situation is take a deep breath. Look at Dad, who's frustrated, who's inquiring why his son did not get to eat lunch, why his son sat in the classroom and cried all day, because he was obviously stressed out and hungry. Excuse me. And take another deep breath. And look this dad in the eye. Maybe even move towards him. And say, Mr. Tharp, sir, I am so sorry. You have every reason to be angry. Every reason. I am so sorry. I got caught up. Was not thinking clearly. I was dealing with all the other kids. And when Jaden left and when he came back, I just was not thinking. about whether he had not eaten or not, and I didn't hear him. And I know he may have told me he needed to eat. I know he may have told me that he was hungry. But sir, I didn't hear him. And I apologize. I truly, truly do. And if you want to bring Jaden in here, I will apologize to him too. And I promise you, this will never happen again. I'm so sorry it happened to begin with. I'm so sorry that you had to come down here. I know how frustrating it would be. If it was my child, I would be just as upset. Just as upset. Is there anything I can do to make it up to you guys? Anything I can do? Can I get Jaden a certificate to Brahms? You think that would help? Because I don't want this to be a situation where he doesn't trust us to take care of him at school. So I'll do whatever it is I can to help him feel better. And once again, I am sorry that you have to come down here and have had to have this experience. And I am really sorry that it happened. If we could rewind from where we're at now, this video has 35,000 views. 35, so when I received it, it had 15,000. This was yesterday morning. So then I posted it. And now it has 35,000 views. It will continue to get views. It will continue to get views ad nauseum for probably until it hits 100,000 or more views. And it may hit 1 million. It may hit some national platform and there's 1 million views. And if we could just rewind, hey, good evening, Caitlin. If we could just rewind all the way back, not even to the teacher, but the first person he was asking about why his son did not get to eat, the first person who didn't have any role in the situation, I had to watch it and listen again, had the first person been willing to take responsibility because she is a representative of the school and parents send their children to school every day, not to be bullied, not to miss meals, not to be picked on, not to be shamed, not to be yelled at, not to be spanked, not to be threatened, not to be punished. Parents don't send their children into the care of a lot of other adults for negative things for them to happen to them. They send them there to learn, to be cared for, to be understood, to grow and to develop, to be nurtured into responsible, educated, knowledgeable adults. That's why parents send their children into school institutions, to grow them up into educated, responsible, happy, well-adjusted adults, ready to contribute to society. So every adult inside the school ultimately is responsible for every child in that school. Every adult, not just the teacher. Every adult is responsible for the children in that school. So if it was truly a school that was operating from a philosophy, a heart-centered place, a mindfulness, an awareness, an understanding that these children are in my care and are of my responsibility. If the school's philosophy was of that nature, then the very first person the dad interacted with would have said, "Oh my gosh, what happened? What happened? Tell me what happened. Jaden? He didn't get to, oh my gosh, he went all day without eating? Oh God, sit down here for a minute, please. Sit down here for a minute. When was this? What? Oh my gosh. Let me go talk to his teacher. Sir, I'm so sorry. We're going to get to the bottom of this. I'm really sorry. I really apologize. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Just give me just one moment. Goes and finds the next responsible person. Emily says, when asking a principal about a punishment my son was given, I was told, I will not allow you to question my employees. It was a brick wall, and that's so sad. That's so sad. that's so sad, because that creates an us against them dynamic, which is what happened in this situation. Because becomes us against them. And my friends did the next day. They went and met with a member of the school board and the principal. And I'm not sure, I think they got some semblance of an apology, but the teacher was not there. The teacher apologized to the principal and to the school board, but she was not there, and the teacher should have been there. She had 24 hours to regulate and get clear and take responsibility, decide to take responsibility. But ultimately, everyone is responsible, or they're not. We are so reactive. We are so fearful. We are so stressed. Our thinking becomes so confused and distorted. Our short-term memories become so shut down. A man sitting there videoing a situation. This is the power of stress. A man sitting there videoing a situation about his child who did not get to eat for an entire day. Didn't get to eat for an entire day. He's videoing it. She's watched the internet. She knows this is not going to be good. And she cannot get her thinking clear enough to just apologize, just to say I'm sorry, just to demonstrate some remorse. Some remorse. We're always talking about freaking kids not having any remorse. Or a kid they don't have a conscience, and they weren't remorseful. And now you got a freaking adult. It's a prime example. A freaking adult who's responsible for taking care of kids showing no remorse. Not even an iota. Yes, we know teachers have 26 kids to care for. We know that. God bless you for choosing to be a teacher. I would not want to be a teacher, but God made you to be a teacher. But that is not an excuse. That is not an excuse for not taking responsibility. So 1 million views later, because we're at 35,000 now, we're 1 million views later. If we rewound the clock all the way back to 0, to the camera being held up, and the first person or just the second person said, I'm so sorry, there would be no more video. Unfortunately, and maybe if there was, let that video go viral. Let something good go viral. But we can't make something good go viral unless we do something good. If we operate from stress and fear and reactivity and blame and unconscious states, we can't do something good. And that's classic inside the parenting matrix behavior. Classic. That is a prime example of an adult operating inside the parenting matrix. There's nothing but blame, shame, reactivity, and unconscious being driven by your unconscious. And that's how we fix it, just by apologizing. And it's so hard to do. It's so hard for us to do. So that's it. That's Big Papa's review of the school time situation. Remember, in any given situation, we always have two choices. We can have an upset parent standing in front of us, stressed out because their child was mistreated. Their child was deprived. And that's the parent. How do you expect them to feel? And in that moment, we can react from our own imprints and blueprints of stress and fear and reactivity, and we can just feed the situation. Or we can stop. We can take 3 to 10 deep breaths. We can slow down. We can choose love, and then we can apologize. Because in that dynamic, with just a little bit of love. And I wish I had a theme song. I wish I had a little bit of love theme song, but I don't have one. One's not popping in my head because I'd sing it for you. Just a little bit of love would have made all the difference. All the difference. No, oh gosh. Marvin Gaye's Sexual Healing popped in my head. Where did that come from? I'm not talking about that kind of love. I'm just talking about a little bit of love in human beings' relationships. If you mess up, apologize. It's that simple. Take responsibility, and everyone's going to be so much happier. God bless you. Big Papa loves you. Enjoy your Saturday night. I'll see you tomorrow.